Stu back with Raid Shadow Legends. We're going to be talking about the top tier epic champions that are not void. Now remember, I just said epic champions that are not void. So if you come back to me and start talking about void ones or legendaries or anything else, these are only in-game top tier epic champions that are not void. That's what we're going to talk about. I'm just going to play this really quick while we discuss a little bit about what I think, are out there and my list I have made. So I didn't do a script, of course. I don't really do a script on any of my stuff. I just kind of go with it and talk to you guys about what I'm thinking about. And there really aren't that many. If you look at Banner Lords, if you look at High Elves, if you look at Ogre Tribes, all the different ones out there, you can really look at all the epic champions they have. Now we're not talking we're not talking void champions. We're only talking regular champions, and see that there aren't a lot that get a lot of use. There aren't a lot that we see out there at all in any of the in-game content that we do. Of course, there's a lot of stuff that I talked about before in videos for epic champions that can carry you, epic and rare champions. Things like, who do I have up here? Nazana, Infernal Baroness, Rearguard Sergeant, Captain Tamila, I think her name is. People that do the shared damage as well as heals are great, but they're not really in-game. I mean, once you get to in-game and you start farming a lot, you're probably not going to have to rely on those people as much, and you might have a couple legendaries that you throw in there with you. So what in-game epic non-void champions are the top tier best that you can book, that you can feel confident about, that you can always bring to 60 and know that, hey, no matter what, you will use these epic champions? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. So if you've seen these champions here, you see Zargala, we see Nazana, we've got Terrell in here, we have Royal Guard, and instead of Steel Skull, since I don't have Steel Skull geared right now, I put in Occult Brawler. But that's okay. So if you've been watching that, cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back over these champions. I know it's crazy watching me just waste energy like that, but it's all right. We need to go on with the video. So let's just start from the beginning. Let's look at all of them real quick. Banner Lords, nothing you will see in-game epic champions that are not void. Nothing at all, so don't even worry about it. If there is, you tell me right away. We'll save High Elves. Okay, we'll do High Elves for now. High Elves have the most and the best epic champions for in-game whatsoever. So we've got Royal Guard, we've got Terrell, we've got Thanazel. Those three right there are some of the top very best. Terrell is the first tier, the very best epic champion out there. He truly is. He is the best of the best. So if you have him, congratulations. If you don't have him, I hope you pull him. Look at this. So he does 25% chance, defense in all battles by 25%. Huge. All battles. It doesn't matter what it is. Does the decrease attack. Does the AoE decrease defense. Can put them to sleep if they have decreased attack. Also decreases the turn meter. He is just all based on defense. He is a crazy champion. Look at these stats. He's good to go. He, for me, is my vote for the top #1 epic champion, non-void, right? For any content out there. You'll see him all the time as the leader for Clan Boss. You'll still see him nowadays. It doesn't matter. Leader for Clan Boss because he does the decreased attack. He also does the decreased defense. And for runs, Dragons, Spiders 20, Dragons 20, Ice Golems 20. This guy will get it done. He'll also get you there. He'll take you there. He really will. This guy will take you there. Don't ever feel bad about taking him to 60 and booking him. In my book, he is #1. Always will be #1. Now, Royal Guard, so much going for him. Decreased defense, damage based on enemy max HP, slow speed. He's crazy. Another guy that you can take in the same things I just said. Dragons 20, Ice Columns 20, Spiders 20. He can also get you up there to 20 in Fire Knight. You're not going to use him in Fire Knight 20. You're not going to use the other one in Fire Knight 20 as well. But they can get you there. They can get you there. These, again, do not feel bad about skilling him out. You don't have to skill out Royal Guard. I did it because I wanted to increase the decreased defense here. Because decreased defense on anything is a big plus, of course. So it's not mandatory that you do, but he's got a great kit. Fantastic. Thanazel, one of the best healers in game on a 3-turn cooldown that gives you increased defense and then heals everybody based on his max HP. So you make him fast, he heals everybody based on his max HP on a 3-turn cooldown, gives you the buff. Very good healer. Who else do we have on my list? So there's only a few more. So those were the 3 main ones. All we had to do was go to Banner Lords and say, nothing. Sorry, Banner Lords. You got nothing for me. And we came over here and we were like, okay, boom. So that's it. End of the game. We're done. So let's look over here. So we do have a few in here in the Sacred Order that are good for Clan Boss right here. We have Jules, Juliana, and we have Aethar. they're kind of a substitute for Steel Skull, I feel. Steel Skull is the best one out there if you're going to book him on a skill 1 to do damage to the clan boss. So I feel like he's the best epic out there. With the heals, with the removed debuffs, with everything, he increases your team's increased defense, which we're going to go to him in a second. Compared to these guys, he can actually do more damage than they do, especially with a counterattack team. And he can do a lot of healing, and he can do a lot of shield improvement. So do you want to bring these in when it's a bad affinity if you only have epics in your end game? Sure, I have these guys level 60. If I have to, sometimes I'll bring them in if it's below 50% and it's not, if I have Steel Skull, which is Spirit, and he's fighting against, what is he bad against? Magic, then I would bring in somebody like this guy. No problem. And we'll be removing the buff as often as possible when they're below 50%. So no, not a problem at all, but I don't consider them in end game that we see all the time, right? I'm talking about the very most top tier that we see used all the time. Now, I will say honorable mention to these two, Talia and Phoenix, because together I think they could be a lot of fun. They both have a lot of cool abilities, 3-turn cooldowns. Even Icebringer has cool abilities, but I don't really see them that much in game. I don't see them played that much in game. So we're gonna go on to the next one. Who do you have? Barbarians. Here we go. So Barbarians, look at every single one of these. What do you think? Nothing. We don't see them in game. We do not see these on runs in-game whatsoever. I honestly would not waste 60ing any of these champions whatsoever. Maybe this guy since he's been changed, but even then I wouldn't run him in anything. I would not 60 any Barbarian epic, which is very sad. It's kind of like Banner Lords. It's very sad, right? You would not 60 them for in-game content. Now, we're not talking Faction Wars. What are we going to use in Faction Wars? Of course, in Faction Wars, we got to use what we got. It's a Faction War. We have to use Barbarians. Then we got to use Barbarians. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about in-game dungeon content, stage 20 stuff, 15 keeps, and clan boss. So Barbarians, they don't have anything. And then over here in Ogren Tribe, of course, everybody knows counterattack. Skull Crusher. Skull Crusher is fantastic. He's used everywhere. If you don't have counterattack and you get him, congratulations. Very good. This guy's got a cool turn meter, but we won't even talk about that. Here we go. Occult Brawler. The only other one in here that does really good poisons, right? And I have a guide on him. I have him running through the Ultra Nightmare Clan Balls, 60 play, everything else. So he's very consistent with applying poisons. Is he good for other things? You could take him into Ice Golems if you wanted to. It'd be a little slow, but he could get the job done. Still, in-game wise, I've seen him used in-game. I would still use Steel Skull, though. Steel Skull is still my #1 choice. So we're about to go over to them anyways. Lizardmen. Yes, we've got an attack down if you had to use it. But again, we're talking about in-game, non-void epics that are the top tier. He's not top tier. Terrell is the top tier. So we're not going to use Durang. We're not going to talk about Durang. He's just not there. He is not. None of these guys are there. None of these guys have a spot anywhere that you would use them in any of those stage 60s, maybe some stage 15s, or the clan boss. They just don't. That's it. They need to be. These need to be buffed. Barbarians need to be buffed. Banner Lords need to be buffed. There's plenty more, so let's keep moving on so we can see what else we've got. We were on Lizardmen. Skinwalkers. Who do we have? Nobody. Here is it. Steel Skull. That's it. This guy right here can slowly get you through content in the game level 20 stages, but he can also be a massive damage dealer. Once his skill 1 is booked out, you do his masteries correct in the clan boss, even Ultra Nightmare Clan boss, not a problem. He is great. The ability to increase defense on everybody and heal, the ability to remove all debuffs and heal is crazy. 3-turn cooldown's fine. He can apply 2 poisons here if he gets lucky with these hits. He is good. He is really in-game guy that we see a lot. This guy, not so much, rain beast like a reindeer. All these people, you don't see them. They're all pretty garbage. They need to be looked at as well. Just to find a place, for in-game, where do we put them? Where can we use them at? We're going to go over here to Orcs. I love Orcs. I wish there were more Orcs that were really cool. But we do have Zargala, so I can't complain. This girl, I don't know why. I just love the way she looks. I love the way she acts, the way she just takes care of business in-game. She's phenomenal. Another one, top tier, I think. Top tier with the other 3 that I talked about in High Elves. She is with them. If you want to book somebody and you have the extra books, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of books. But she is well worth it once you get to in-game. If you need to save your books for Terrell, Royal Guard, something like that, that's fine, I understand. But if you want to, if you have the books, there's nothing wrong with putting them in Zargala and going with it. You can take her almost anywhere. You can't really take her Ice Golems, unfortunately. You can't take her Spiders 20, unfortunately. But the rest of them you can. You can make faster runs in Fire Knight 20. You can do faster runs in Dragons. much faster runs in any of the keeps that you do. But you can't use her in clan boss, and you can use her in PvP as well. She's very good for doing the AoE decreased defense in PvP. Fantastic. As far as the rest of these, I will give an honorable mention or a good mention to Vrask. Fantastic healer. You put him in the right set to where he can counterattack. You give him the right masteries to where he can counterattack as well if he's being hit, and he can really heal your team. He can help you through content. But when you're at end game, do I think you're going to need him in Ice Golems 20? Do I think you're going to need him in Fire Knight 20 or wherever else you can bring him into? I don't know if you're going to need him. You might. But if you do, he's there. He's a fantastic healer, just like the Nasal. So I put them kind of together right up there in the tier. We'll do like a little tier list in just a minute here. I'm just going over all the champions. The rest of these, though, nothing. They don't have a place anywhere in game that I can see it in game, right? Nowhere at all. I don't even see them being used. So we got Demon Spawn. Demon Spawn have a lot of actually pretty cool champions. We do know Allura is really good. I like her, but she just isn't really used in game that much. This being random, if they change this to attack one enemy 3 times, they could even lower the percentage a little bit, still attack one enemy 3 times, and she'd see a lot more play at different places. The only other person we have in here is Nazana, of course, for carries, but that's not in game. We do see Infernal Baroness now with her new improved damage based on defense. We see her a lot in Spiders 20 being the tank, just like Bad L would be or other people would be. And we see her, she can carry you. She can carry you in, I would think, places like carry your team in maybe Dragons 20 or something like that. She can do well. She's not a bad champion. I don't know if she, I'd say Spiders 20 is where we're going to see her the most at. The rest of these guys, though, besides Nazana carrying people, and then once you're done with carrying end game for a long time, which she's the best at it, Nazana's so good at it, I don't know. I don't see them being used at all. Again, they need to be tweaked so we can use them and they can be relevant in content out there. What was that? Was that the Undead? No, that was those. Okay, Undead. Undead have some also really cool champions. Dark Aethel. She's not good. I'm just kidding you. She's total garbage. I did a review on her. Check her out. Level 60 gameplay, fully geared. Oh man, if her skill 3 did damage based off of enemy max HP, we'd be good. We could use her in Spiders and some other stuff, but it doesn't. Anyways, Gorkarab's a good carry. Seeker's great in PvP, great in other things as well. He's a very powerful champion, Do we see them as much in-game now? Not really, but you could definitely use these two in games. These are also fantastic honorable mentions for in-game champions, Gorgarab and Seeker. This new guy I'm not too sure about. The rest of these still don't get to see a lot of play. This guy, Zolotol, he's good. I mean, he's on a 4-turn cooldown. Thanazal's on a 3-turn cooldown. Do I see this guy in-game? I don't really see him in-game, but if you needed heals, if you needed to get through and get this heal over time and buffs, he can be used in a lot of places. He's still a fantastic champion. The rest of these champions, not so much. Not at all. They don't see a lot of use. Who else do we have? We have Dark Elves. We're almost there. Dark Elves. Dark Elves have some really... I like the cosmetics of Dark Elves, right? I like the way the Dark Elves look. I especially like a lot of the legendary Dark Elves. But as far as all the epic Dark Elves, non-void epics, top tier in-game, none of them. None of these whatsoever. This Crimson Helm used to be used a lot back before we got new Stage 20 stuff. There's a few things you can use for some things. Captain Tamila can be a fantastic carry to carry your teams through to progress through Stage 20 stuff to build up to where you eventually won't need her anymore, but still there's nothing wrong with booking her out, taking her to 60, and carrying you through all the content with increased shields, heals all your guys, ally protection. I mean, come on. She can carry anybody. She can carry your whole team through there. Her stats are crazy. So again, another carry person, but not really in game once you're there. And once you have all the artifacts and everything you need, you can probably blast through it, but you can still use her with all your in-game people. So she's still really phenomenal. Then we have Knight's Revenant. Knight's Revenant, there are, again, a lot of interesting epics in here, non-void, that are really cool. Sinisha is probably the best one here, right? For heals, and for damage, right? Because we got damage here based on hits again if the enemy has less than 50% HP. Another one that is worth booking. She's definitely worth the books if you have her to get you through content in the game. Unfortunately, she's forced though, so you're not going to really use her much. You could use her in Spiders 20 as the one being targeted to attack back with defensive masteries, and you could use her in Dragons as well and Fire Knight if you needed to. Who else do we have here? You know, Doom Priest used to be really good back in the day. She's not really used much now. I don't really see her in game a lot. She can still help out. And the rest of these, this guy's pretty cool. He's got a decreased defense, two hits, right? I don't know why this is 50% chance. Otherwise, he'd be a really good champion. Again, a lot of these guys, they don't see any play. They don't see any play in PvP. They don't see any play in Clan Boss. And in-game content, I just don't see any of those guys being used. And then the Dwarves. So the Dwarves, you know, they're new. We have a lot of new champions. They get a lot of flack because none of them are super great, and some of them are kind of same. Like, we got this girl that does taunts. We got this guy that does taunts. We've got another carry, just like this. This one's almost like Nazana, who can carry your champions, heal them up, ally protect, do the decreased defense. So we're getting a lot of repeat, but she does have the decreased defense. So again, Rearguard Sergeant is very strong, very, very strong, and you'll probably use her throughout in-game. Do I see her a lot right now? I don't, but you might see her. It depends on, you know, what your roster is, what you've got, what artifacts you've already farmed. But as far as the rest of these, we're not going to see them anywhere. We're not going to see any of these things running ice golems, you know, Fire Knight, Clan Boss, any of that kind of stuff. And I don't mean that as in they can't do it, right? Some of them can, and actually, you know, some of them have decent kits. Like, this guy's got a decent kit to get you through waves. He really does. 3-turn cooldown provoke, which is kind of like her 3-turn cooldown, but she can provoke a little bit more and res somebody, which is really good. But this guy can also get it through as well. He can get your team through. So I think getting your team through, like for champions like this guy and Rearguard Sergeant, Nazana, Infernal Baroness, who are the other people that are really good carries? Captain Tamila, and I can't remember anybody else. Somebody like Gorgorab can heal your guys too and be a good carry. Those guys, I don't know if they're really super in-game that you want to focus on 100%, but for sure, if you need to carry, do that. So anyways, I'm getting off on different stuff. So what I came up with and what I feel like is, of course, these three. So let me look at my list here. So Terrell is number one, above all other epics, non-void. Number one epic. And then I would definitely, for my picks, I would go with Royal Guard, Zargala, and Steel Skull, all in the same category. They're all in the tier below Terrell. And also ones that you should not be afraid to 60 and use your books on. I feel like Royal Guard and Zargala get a lot of play, have a lot of uses in the game. And Steel Skull, if you need him for Clan Boss, gets a tremendous amount of play and use in that you can do a lot of damage with. Because everybody wants to do well in Clan Boss. If you need him, he is for sure an in-game person. And then again, we've got Occult Brawler as replacements for things. We've got Varast, the Nasal, Sinisha, as healers, you know, DPSers. We've got, who else did I have? And that was really it. I mean, there really wasn't a lot. If you really go through it all, besides, you know, the other carries, Gorgrab, you got Seeker to help out, Zolotol, Infernal Baroness, Zargala, Rearguard Sergeant, Captain Tamela, Vrask, I don't know. I've said all those already. There really aren't that many. So for my list, I mean, it can be so short. It can go down to Terrell, Royal Guard, Zargala, Steel Skull is the top 4 epics in the game, non-void, for in-game stuff. And then if you want to substitute in, you could do Occult Brawler, and that's it. For heals, you know, Varast, the Nasal, whoever else, Sinisha. So that's really it. There really aren't that many, right? I feel there aren't that many for my tier list of epics that are not void and that you use in-game. For the rest of them, I mean, they need a lot of love. They need a lot of Bannerlord love. A tremendous amount. Like, they kind of need to go through and do a full sweep. Let me look at epics. Let me see, what are these guys used for? Are they used for anything? PvP, Clan Boss? Like, do they have a specialty? If they have a specialty, we can leave them alone. These guys don't. None of them have a specialty. You know, a tremendous amount of these don't as well. There are some decent ones in the Sacred Order. I'll give them that. Barbarians, nothing, man. It's like Bannerlords. You need to go in there and you really need to fine-tune these guys and get them up to par, because, you know, if you just count the few that I went over, say that there's 10 or 12 or something like that, out of all the epics out there that are, I know I'm saying that they're used for in-game, but it's because they're actually good, you know, because they actually have a use. You can do things with them in-game, as opposed to these guys. Say I leveled up all these people right here, all of them. See, I leveled up all these 60s, all these barbarians, and then I tried to run anything. I'm not going to be able to run anything. I'd fail with all these guys. I'd probably, even if I gave them superior gear, lifesteal stuff to keep them afloat, whatever else, I don't know. They could slow play dragon, sure. Just, I mean, I've done it with rares, so no problem. They could do that, but they're not going to be used anywhere. I mean, there are a lot of terrible champions, a lot of terrible epics. So that's all I got to say. Just wanted to go over the epics and look at them. I hope we get a lot of increased. I know we've been getting a lot of buffed up legendary champions, right? And they throw in some epics every once in a while. And I agree. We need to get those legendaries. We need to get those legendaries improved, especially if they're legendaries that you have or I have that aren't good at all, that aren't used anywhere. We do need to get those up. But I'm really hoping we start hitting a lot of these epics, because there are far more epics than there are legendaries, and people have way more epics than they do legendaries. But again, I'm not saying don't buff those legendaries. Please keep buffing those legendaries. I hate to see somebody pull a legendary that's not very good. But also, let's get these epics in here. Let's get these epics some usefulness somewhere out there that we can really use them in, because nobody else Broad Mall. These people don't get a lot of play. They don't get any play whatsoever, and I'd just like to see that they do. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if my list is full of crap, or do you agree? Do you have a better list? Are there in-game champions that you just love, that you use, that get you through, is your favorite in-game champion a Bannerlord? Let me know. Anyways, guys, that's it. I will see you all in a video soon.